All right, we're gonna discuss interfaces in Go, programming language. All right, an interface is basically like a struct, but it implements empty functions so that the functions can be used later. Okay, so let's see an example. So this is how to describe an interface. So let's say we want to write a program that calculates the area of a triangle, and that same program can still calculate for other shapes. But let's start with the simple one, which is a triangle. So let's say this calculate shapes. Okay, so for shapes, so we're going to start with the first shape. So this is how you describe an interface, just like a struct, but you call it an interface. Okay, and then um, so interface, so area this way, float 32. That's variable type. So this is good. If we have another shape to implement, we can just do it like this, maybe perimeter, and so on. So this is an interface. It implements function of a function called area, and the function is empty. Perimeter is empty too. So further down the code, we will actually then implement what's going to happen inside this function for a certain shape we want. So let's start out with this um, interface, and then remember that this definition has to be outside of the main. Okay, this way. So we've implemented it. So now let's implement a function, a struct. Okay, so type rectangle. So rectangle, it's a struct, and the rectangle will have a length and a breadth or width, whatever you call it. And the variable type is going to be float 32. So this is one of the shapes that we want to calculate. So now we can then implement area and tell it how to calculate the area of a rectangle. We've already described the shape. So now we can say this function of a rectangle, let's call the variable r rectangle. This r is of type rectangle, which is the struct, okay? And this is how to calculate the area. All right. So when we calculate the area, the result we expect should be in format of float 32. That is the type float 32. So this is the formula of what's going to happen for the area of a particular rectangle breadth. That's all. So now if we try to calculate that area, calculate, calculate, okay, that's a function. We just call the function calculate. All right. So let's say we want to calculate the shape. Remember this interface. All right. Let's print line area is gonna be s dot area. Okay, so now remember that this shape is an interface. So we can access its members using the member access method of dot. So we say this s dot area. So when we call it this way, so when we're going to call this calculate function, we'll pass whatever value in parameter into it, and then it's going to give us the area. So now let's actually use the functions we have. So let's declare a variable and a rectangle. Rectangle is a struct, and we are calling the struct, and then we give it the details of the parameters inside it. So here, The element of the struct is let's say 7 and 4. We know that 7 is the first one, which is the length, and 4 is the breadth. Okay, so now let's calculate the rectangle. So we pass in this rect. So if we run this now, this function will do this printing for us. All right, it will calculate the rectangle, and it goes to S and gets the formula here and executes it. So let's run. It's already cleared. So it worked. It calculated it to be 28, which is length times width. Now let's say you want to implement multiple. Uh, Remember we just implemented it with a rectangle. What we want? What if we want the shape of another item? Okay, let's see. Let's do for triangle to implement the same thing. So I'm gonna call it T triangle, and the area of a triangle. Who still remembers it? That was a primary school level. The area of a triangle is half base times height. Half T dot base times T dot height. And obviously we need to implement triangle struct, okay, or triangle struct. So that's easy. So here we're gonna say type triangle. It's a struct, and it's gonna have base, it's gonna have height, and both of them are gonna be float 32. So this is triangle struct, this is rectangle struct. Basically what the shape would look like. All right, and then so it's time to use it. So let's do inside our main, let's do try whatever. Okay, a triangle struct will have two members, and that's let's just give it numbers. The base is 8, the height is 12. So can you now guess how we are going to call the triangle? Okay, so here we can say calculate trial, and if we run this, and there's an error syntax unexpected name T at the end of statement. Okay, there is a T somewhere. Oh, I think we all know where the problem is. So let me just pull this down. Let me pull this down. Yeah. So the error says line 29, syntax error unexpected name T at the end of the statement. So if we come here, line 29, it's saying unexpected name T. Here, we did not put the time. So it's actually half base times height. Okay, so if we do this now and do a clear and run. Now there's a declared not used rect. Okay, declared and not used. So I'm gonna use it actually, but let's just run this without it. And boom, it calculates the area of the triangle. Now we can do the both of them the same time. For instance, if I actually do this, okay, we can do calculate area. All right, percent %d and good. So if I do the calculate twice, one for rect. Now we can do and there you go. Okay, so it gives us the area and then the area. So that's how you do interfaces, implement interfaces in Go. So I have an assignment for you, and that is what happens if the struct doesn't implement all methods of the interface. Remember, this is the interface. It has this method, and let's say the struct does not implement. This is a struct. Okay, and this is the implementation. Let's say it doesn't implement all the methods of the interface. There's gonna be a problem. So it's gonna give a bug. I'm gonna generate the bug, and then I let you to figure out the solution, which is simple, but it's just a way for you to get used to it. So let's say we want to add perimeter to this. So we are calculating both area and perimeter. Okay, float 32, and now we have a struct that implemented only area. Okay, so I'm going to delete all the information about triangles here and triangles here. Okay, so we have just a rectangle struct, and this rectangle struct implements only area. Now the question is, what happens to this perimeter? Since the rectangle implemented the interface but did not implement one of its members, which is a perimeter. Perimeter is missing. If you run this, it will not allow you to run because that the principle of structs is that all members of the principles of interface is that all members of the interface must be implemented by whatever struct. So if we run this code now, let's see how it goes. There's an error. Okay, it says cannot use rect, okay, as shape value in argument to calculate rectangle. It does not implement shape, missing method perimeter. So we have already implemented area. So see if you can implement perimeter to eliminate this bug, and that's your assignment for this video.